So for those of you who don't know, IMAC is the broker for the district's medical benefits, in addition to the prescription and the dental. We, sorry, excuse me. We help a lot. Sorry, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of things popping up on my computer. I'm sorry. I'm losing the slides here. So sorry. Let me just mute everything. So we're the insurance broker for the district health plans, including the medical, prescription, and dental. We assist employees with benefit-related questions or claim issues that you may encounter that you're unable to resolve on your own. We have dedicated member liaisons that have the ability and the resources to resolve any issue and answer your questions quickly and efficiently. Anybody can call our office or email us at any time by calling 973-450-9800 or emailing us at info@imacagency.com. Liz, can you switch to the next
There you go.
slide? I can't do it.
Do
Sorry.
you see it there, Julie?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. So as you know, the district's medical benefits renew July 1st, and every year we go out to market, to all markets and solicit proposals to get the best rate for the best insurance coverage possible. Horizon came in with their best and final renewal for July 1 at 29.5% above the current rates. The most competitive alternative that submitted a proposal was submitted by Metropolitan Health Insurance Fund, AKA the Metro HIF. They came in with a proposed increase of 26.5% above current rates, which is about approximately $600,000 less than the Horizon renewal. So a little bit of background on the Metropolitan HIF, right? So they use the Aetna network, which provides a stable long-term healthcare strategy for public entities because it is a pooled program. Metro Fund is the newest fund under the PERMA umbrella, which was created for larger northern New Jersey school boards and local governments in an effort to combine their purchasing power for benefits. They're one of 9 public health insurance funds in New Jersey. They're owned and governed by the participating member entities, which allows for input, oversight, and transparency into operations and financials. The claims and expenses are pooled among the members of all the participants in that fund, which reduces the impact of large claims on any single entity, and it promotes budget stability. Historically, they've had modest renewal increases. The 5-year statewide average is under 7%.
And Julie, do we want to turn it over to Tom to discuss anything further on this slide and on the next slide?
Yeah, I think so. Tom, can you unmute?
Yep, I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Kelly. I work at Eagle Rock Management Group. We just help administer the Metropolitan Health Insurance Fund. So as Julie said prior, the Metropolitan Health Insurance Fund is one of 9 health insurance funds that participate with the Aetna plan in New Jersey. The health insurance funds are regionalized throughout the state, which is how one entity decides which health insurance fund they will go to. So the Metro Health Insurance Fund, we are responsible for Essex, Hudson, Union, and Middlesex counties. The entire purpose behind a health insurance fund is to take all good entities like that are running well and have low claims costs and pool them together. The reason that these entities get pooled together is for safety and stability. The state plan, for example, year over year has seen north of a 40% increase if you count the last 2 years, and that's just over the last couple. In the future, the plan is going to what's called a death spiral, to where all of the good entities are going to be leaving and only the bad risk will be there. And when you're stuck with only bad risk, that's higher claims costs and higher renewals. What we're doing is we're taking entities like Livingston Board of Education and other like entities. For example, Plainfield Board of Education is currently with our health insurance fund, and we group everybody together. These strong numbers, once again, like Julie said, help minimize the impact of these large claims and are able to get you guys a lower and stable renewal year over year. Over the past 5 years, the health insurance fund has had an average increase of 6.39%. So yeah, Julie, if you want to keep going. So the Metropolitan Health Insurance Fund will take any benefits that are currently in place with Livingston Board of Education, and they will match them completely. We've already sent the administration what's called an equal to or better than guarantee letter. And that letter just cements in the fact that no matter what benefits you have, we've taken the necessary precautions with underwriting, and we've made it known that it's fiscally possible on our end to be able to keep everything one-to-one. So in New Jersey, the two big medical providers are Aetna and Horizon Blue Cross. You guys are currently with Horizon Blue Cross, and we ran a disruption analysis, and it shows how many providers in the state of New Jersey you will have access to. Aetna to Horizon has a 96% overlap. So what that means is just about 24 in every 25 providers used through Livingston will also be on plan with Aetna. And on top of that, the Aetna network will actually have of the more providers that aren't on plan will also now become available to you and be treated as in-network. It's a on this review, Aetna would like to provide access to 2791 participating providers compared to 2723 under Horizon. So you'll actually have access to more doctors now than you did in the past.
Julie, you can tackle this one.
So as Tom said, the benefits are equal to or better than, they provide a guarantee. They'll match every benefit, line by line. The last slide did show the comparable networks. So aside from just doing a general network comparison between Aetna and Horizon in the state of New Jersey, we were able to look at actual providers that were used by actual members from the district within the last 12 months. And that's what Aetna used to run it through their system to give us those numbers showing, you know, the in-network overlap at 96% plus the 51% gain on the out-of-network providers that were currently used by members. So overall, the district will see, you know, an increase in-network providers that they are using today by moving to Aetna. When it comes down to the pricing, so direct access 10 and 15 members are bound by Chapter 78. So your contribution is bound by the premium in which you're enrolled in, whereas educators in Garden State Health Plan don't see a change because they only change their contributions when their salary changes. It's tied to the salary, not to the premium of the plan. One of the benefits of being able to switch between carriers is that members don't have to do anything. Every enrollment is done electronically. We know where you're enrolled today with who's enrolled underneath you, and that's what gets fed into the Aetna system so that, you know, July 1st, you have your enrollment without having to submit an application or any documentation. We've done this transition before, you know, in 2024, IMAC assisted the district with leaving the state health benefits plan and enrolling into Horizon. Again, the enrollment was seamless. There was no applications that needed to be submitted. You know, as of May 1st, 2024, everybody had an ID card with the plan that they were enrolled in. We do want to touch on, right? So if some people, if some of the people that are using the doctors that are now going to be out of the network with Horizon, with Aetna, that they were in the network with Horizon, they do have options. One, you know, on a very basic level, you can submit for provider recruitment and Aetna will, you know, try to get the provider into their network. If there is an instance where somebody is in the middle of treatment or care under a doctor who is currently participating in your network, and then with the change, they're not participating with Aetna, you can submit a transition of care, which will allow Aetna to pay that provider under your in-network benefits for the duration of your treatment, right? So some simple examples of that are pregnancy, right? Your OBGYN is not in the new network and you're 4 months pregnant. Okay, well, no one's going to expect you to change your doctor. So you do a transition of care, gets you through the delivery and some post follow-up. And then, you know, after that, if you continue to use that doctor and they're not in the network, your out-of-network benefits would apply. But at least during, you know, the remainder of your pregnancy, you don't have to use your out-of-network benefits. Things like cancer or post-op from a surgery, everybody's case is a little bit different. So you just submit the transition of care and then they would approve it based off of, you know, your remaining treatment plan.
And then Julie, that takeaway about the ID cards.
Oh, yep. So everybody receives new ID cards with the change. Aetna's ID cards are a little bit different looking than Horizon because they do list out every dependent that is enrolled underneath you, whereas, on the Horizon ID card, it lists the member, the subscriber's name, and then it just lists the contract type, 2 adults, family, single, parent, child. This will actually show every single dependent enrolled underneath you on a card. For those of you who want to look for a doctor, we have the find a doctor directions on the screen. If you're in the direct access 10 or 15 or the educators plan, they're all going to use the Aetna open access plan by searching the Aetna Choice POS 2. If you're in the Garden State plan, you're going to search by using the Aetna Whole Health Network. One thing to point out too is not every carrier contracts doctors in the same exact fashion, right? So Horizon may show them under a group practice name, and Aetna may show them under their individual doctor's name. So if you put it in one way and you get this little like stop sign signal on the screen, it doesn't mean that they're non-participating. It means that they can't find them in the way that you've entered it. So if you know that they practice under a larger group, try that. If that doesn't work and you try the doctor's name and you're still getting that little symbol, you can always just reach out to our office and we can look it up, or reach out to Aetna and just have them confirm their participation status.
I've been answering questions while Julie and Tom have been talking, but now that we're kind of towards the end of our slides, I can answer some of these questions verbally. Someone is asking about vision. The district does not have a standalone vision plan, so nothing is changing with that. This change is only potentially, if the decision is made, is only for medical. I see a lot of questions about doctors and how to do that search for them in network. These are the instructions here. And again, we will share this PowerPoint recording once it's over so you can do the search properly. But to Julie's point, if you're searching for an individual doctor and maybe that doctor handles their billing under the group name, that could be a reason why you're not finding it. So again, please let us know if you have any of that. Someone is asking about Delta Dental. This change would only be towards medical, so nothing is changing regarding dental or prescription. Julie and Tom, a question here about deductibles for out of network. If a member has already met that, what happens if the decision is made to move forward effective 7/1? How are those deductibles and or maximum out of pocket amounts handled?
Right,
So
so we will
all
get
of
a file. Go ahead, Tom,
Oh,
sorry.
no, sorry about that. All deductible credit will be carried over to the new plan. So the administration over at Livingston is going to be able to provide Julie's office a form that has everybody's deductible credit, how much money they've spent. And once that file is sent over to Julie, she'll submit it to our office, and we're going to make sure that if you guys go this route, once you're moving from Horizon to Aetna, all of your credit will be applied. You're not going to have to spend any more money.
Someone is asking, what is the reimbursement rate for out-of-network behavioral health claims?
So that varies by plan. So on the educators plan and the Garden State plan, out-of-network reimbursement is based off of 200% of Medicare allowance. That's governed by the Chapter 44. On the direct 10 and 15, it's a multiple of Medicare as well. So it's 150% for providers and ancillary, and then hospitals are 175% of multiple of Medicare.
Person is saying my eye doctor is currently in network with Horizon. You can do the search as we have on the screen to see if they're in network with Aetna, but as we said, there's 96% of overlap. That means that between Aetna and Horizon, 96% of the doctors are in network. Person is asking, is the Horizon BFit incentive still active? It's called Aetna Fitness Reimbursement, but yes, it's the same amount, the $20 to go to the gym. And Aetna actually makes it a little easier because they do self-reporting. So there's no need to deal with an app. And you can actually work out at home as well instead of having to just go to the gym, and because that's how it's reimbursed under Horizon. few questions from different individuals about doctors that are not in network. Again, I highly encourage you to make sure that you do the search properly, because if you did it and you selected maybe the wrong network, that could be an issue. But for any providers that are truly out of network, that are in network under Horizon, but not in the network under Aetna, reach out to us about those providers. Aetna does a wonderful job with recruitment, and they love reaching out to providers to get them to be part of their network and only grow their network. So that's definitely something that they are very proactive with. Person is asking Direct 15 and 10, does that exist under Aetna? Yes. Direct 15, Direct 10, the Educators Plan and the Garden State Health Plan are also equal to or better than are offered under this plan. Person's asking, how does this affect retirees? Retirees, once you retire from the district, you go into state health benefits. That's not changing. That's still the same process. So when you retire, it all depends on the age that you are. So if you're a retiree that is under the age of 65 and not Medicare eligible, when you go back into state health benefits, your options are the Educators or the Garden State Health Plan in the state. But if you're a retiree over 65 or that you are Medicare eligible, you would go into the Medicare Advantage plan in the state. But again, that relationship ceases with the district. You move on to state health benefits, so long as you have the years of service. My doctor takes Aetna and Aetna Better Health. Is this the same as Aetna Open Access? I'm not sure. I would have to do the search, but Tom, do you know that if those are similar networks or what those two networks are that the person is mentioning?
I would assume that they're similar. Jay, do you mind jumping in here?
Oh, hi, Jason Edelman with Perma. All we would need to double check on any of the providers, you can just send them in to Julie, and we just need the provider name and address, and we can check them directly with Aetna. That would be the best bet if people are looking for them and they're not coming up. Sometimes with Aetna, if the provider is not accepting new patients, they're not in the system, but you're not a new patient if you have them. So it would just be something we would just confirm on the back end.
Good point. Someone is asking, is there ABA coverage under the plans? And the answer is yes. Again, benefits are equal to or better than what you currently have. So that is a condition that there is coverage for under all 4 plans. Which is the plan for those hired after 7/1/20? Is that the choice 10 or the choice 15? No. For those that were hired on or after July 1st of 2020, your plan options would be the Educators Plan or the Garden State Health Plan. What is the name of the plan we should be checking with our doctor? Someone from my department said it's called Aetna Choice POS2, but I don't see that named anywhere on the slides. Right here, if you're looking for a provider within the Direct 10, Direct 15, or the Educators Plan, the plan name is Aetna Choice POS2 Open Access. And again, if you're looking for someone under the Garden State, it's called the NJ Aetna Whole Health New Jersey Choice POS2 Network. So depending on which plan you're looking at is the network that would be pertaining to that. Yes, here is the slide for the IMAC contact information. Thank you. Okay. Yes, again, with the gym reimbursement, I'm glad that they accept that now. So perfect. It would be the same thing again, but it would be through Aetna, not through Horizon for that. Monthly costs, as Julie mentioned, if you're looking at Direct 10, and if you're someone who's looking to stay or are in Direct 10 or Direct 15, you will see a savings on your contributions. We do have a contribution calculator that will be posted on the portal this week. But for those of you, because it's based on a percentage of the premium, but if you are someone in the Educators or the Garden State Health Plan, because that's based on a percentage of your salary, those contributions are not changing. Who do I email? You can send that email to info@imacagency.com. That's our catch-all email address, and we will make sure that it's routed to the correct individual. Person is asking, could I switch from Direct 10 to to the Garden State Health Plan? Yes. Every year you'll have open enrollment. I've heard some districts have one-way clauses where once you leave a legacy Chapter 78, you can't go back. Is that the current agreement with Livingston? Once you leave, you can't go back? No, that's not true. Everything is based on your date of hire as far as the plans that you're allowed to choose from. So if you were hired before July 1st of 2020, you can elect from any of the 4 plans that are being offered, but it's those individuals that were hired on or after July 1st of 2020 that you will only be able to elect from the educators or the Garden State Health Plan. But if, let's say, this is the year that you go from Direct 10 to the educators plan, and for whatever reason you didn't like it and you want to go back, that's what open enrollment is next year. You'll be able to go back then, and you can switch every year during open enrollment. But again, everything is based on your date of hire. Will premiums for Direct 10 increase? If so, by how much? If the district does not do anything as far as making a decision, the increase is how much again, Julie? 29.5%?
9.5, yeah.
Yeah. So that is the increase from Horizon if the district does not make a decision. However, there is a savings if the district decides to move to the health insurance fund. Person is asking if a surgery was approved through Blue Card Blue Shield after a year plus of PT, will this approval be transferred to Aetna? Yes, we can go ahead and work with that and get all those clinical notes moved over to Aetna. And that's a very good question that I know was asked the other day when we met with your union leadership. Yes, we can go ahead and work behind the scenes to get all that documentation so you don't have to do another year of PT, so to speak. Where is the NJEHP chart? Did we get that or is that online? That is online and there is a calculator that's coming for that as well, but it is online. I am confused by the answer regarding reimbursement for out-of-network doctors. What is the exact percentage we would get back or claim for an out-of-network doctor? It is dependent on the plan, as Julie said. So if you're in Direct 10 and Direct 15, it is based on a different table and a different percentage of reimbursement. Whereas depending if you're on the Garden State Health Plan or the Educators Plan, it is a different table and again, a different percentage. So if you want to be a little bit more specific as to what plan you're in, we can actually give you that specific amount. Is the out-of-network deductible 80/20 after deductible like Direct 10 is? Also, will prescriptions be $10? Again, equal to or better than, so those deductible percentages and that co-insurance split remains the same. Prescription is remaining the same as well, as there is no change to that. Person is asking, is there a way that I can check my prescriptions under Aetna? Prescription is not being changed, so there's no need to look up your prescriptions under Aetna. That you're still staying with Benecard, no issues there. Okay, Summit Medical Group is participating in this plan. They're a big provider actually in both Aetna and Horizon. Will our insurance card say Aetna or Metro HIF? They will say Aetna. Is the Metro HIF actually even mentioned on the card? I don't think so. Or is it? Tom or Julie?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but I believe the card just says Aetna.
Yeah.
Person is asking if you're already in Direct 10, will you automatically be placed in the same plan? Yes, if the district decides to move forward, to move to the health insurance fund, there would be no need for you to complete an enrollment form if you're staying in the plan that you're in. So you would be moved over to the plan equivalent. Why couldn't the district keep current insurance and all employees pay a higher premium? It's a district decision. I can't answer that, but as many of you I'm sure are hearing, there are massive increases industry-wide with insurance, not only in the private sector, but also in state health benefits, and just costs keep rising. So unfortunately, this is why every year this is part of our due diligence to research the most cost-effective options that are out there, keeping the benefits equal to or better than. I was hired before 2020, but was using my partner's plan until 2025. Will I be eligible for 4 options? Yes. Again, your hire date is what determines your eligibility as to what plans to choose. When does the new plan year start? Will current deductibles and maximum towards out-of-pocket be carried over to Aetna? If the district does make a decision, it looks like it'll be July 1st. And again, as Julie and Tom mentioned, those deductibles and maximum out of pockets would be transitioned over. Okay, Tom, this is maybe a question for you. I see the Millburn municipality uses this. Why does Millburn BOE not use it?
So, like you mentioned earlier too, that is obviously just a board decision. So some entities decide to go with health insurance fund arrangement and some don't. Other cases, some entities may not have favorable enough claims experience to even be considered for. I said earlier, I believe it was in the chat, once entities join health insurance funds arrangements, it is very rare for them to leave on their own. The retention rate is 95% plus. I think it sits around 97%. So they may have gotten a better rate elsewhere. They may have not had good enough experience to even be offered an arrangement like this. I do know that we are currently in the process of marketing with a few other Board of Educations in an attempt to make them join as well to expand our Board of Education pool. But yeah, it all just depends on their specific claims experience. We don't just offer quotes to every Board of Education in every township. We really like to pick and choose and safeguard our incumbent members to make sure that we can keep that annual renewal down under that 7%.
Person is asking, can I stay on Horizon now? Do I have a choice? If the district decides to make the move, it would be district-wide. There's no picking and choosing between two different carriers. It's one carrier for all employees in the district. If the district decides to go with this plan, will we be automatically enrolled? Yes, it is an electronic enrollment, but employees would have the opportunity to make a plan change if they wanted to. For example, if they were in Direct 10 and wanted to move to the educators plan, that would be an option. But if the employee wants to stay in the plan that they're in now, they would be moved to the plan equivalent under the health insurance fund with that now. Is Atlantic Health covered? Yes, they are a major participating group like your Summit Health, Advocare. They're a very large medical practice in the state that is under both carriers. If the percentage increase to stay with Horizon is 29.5%, what is the percentage increase to switch from Horizon to Aetna? It's a decrease, it's a savings. So that's why the district would consider that because it is providing a savings, keeping the benefits equal to or better than. I have Direct 15. Will I save money switching to the Garden State Health Plan? Yes, actually a pretty decent amount. So reach out to us individually. We can go over what that would be exactly for you because we would need to know your salary information for that. What if I was planning to switch plans during open enrollment? Yes, you can still do that. You don't have to wait until next year. You'll have an opportunity this year because this is also going to be your open enrollment opportunity. Person is saying, so it's only a 3% difference. No, it's a 29.5% savings because that is the increase that Horizon has provided the district for its renewal. Okay. If the premiums are increasing by 29% if we stay with Horizon, how are employees in Direct 10 or 15 seeing a decrease in contributions? Because it will be a savings on the renewal. So for example, it's going up 29.5% now for anybody that's in Direct 10 or Direct 15. Those employees would avoid that 29.5% with a more competitive rate because of the savings the health insurance fund is offering. But equal to or better than refers to the benefits. So your co-pays, your co-insurances, all of that is what's being matched, column to column and part of the equal to or better than guarantee. Provider networks in any situation are never guaranteed as equal to or better than because provider networks can vary from carrier to carrier. But as we said, we have run a disruption report and there is a 96% overlap with both Aetna and Horizon. Person is asking, is Lifeline Medical Associates and Aetna? That one I'm not familiar with. If you could send us an email to info@imacagency.com, we will get back to you. We can research that. And also if you could provide the location of that medical group, just so we can make sure that we can see that. If we were hired on or after, if we were hired after 2020, do we have a choice between the educators and the Garden State Health Plan? Yes, those are the only two options for people that were hired after 2020. Is NJEHP Aetna as well? Yes, all 4 plans would be Aetna. Hackensack Meridian Group in network? Yes, they're in network with both Aetna and Horizon. Does our WJ Barnabas participate? Yes, they do. There's a person that put in their salary range. Would you mind emailing that to us as well? We don't want to stop the presentation to look up those contributions, but reach out to us individually. We will get back to you. And yes, if you do not do anything, it will roll over automatically. How can I find out what my current plan is through Horizon? If you go onto your Horizon member portal, or if you look at your ID card, or give us a call. Based on your copays, we can also tell you what plan you're in as well. Prescription baby formula is covered also under Aetna. Our WJ cancer centers also participate. Yes, they're in the network. Okay. My card says direct access. How do I know if I have 10 or 15? Your copay should tell you. You should see on your plan if they are $10, you'd be in direct 10, or $15, you would be in direct 15. Children who are out of state and college continue to be covered. Yes, no change with that. New York City doctors will be covered. Yes, the same way that they're covered out of network under direct 10, 15, and the educators would continue to be the same way. Garden State Health Plan like it is now, there is no coverage outside of the state of New Jersey. And again, roll over to a comparable plan. Yes, the benefits are being matched equal to or better than. There's a person that says that I skipped their question. Please, I'm sorry if you don't mind, if you could post it again. I apologize. There's a lot of questions coming through the chat and I am about 4 minutes behind as they're coming in. Can you give me more information as to what types of procedures prior approval requirements are? Major services like it is now, MRIs, outpatient surgery, major services are always required with prior authorization. You as the member or as the patient may not be seeing that because it's being handled by your doctor's office, but under every single insurance company, major services or imaging are subject to and require prior authorization. What about spouse? I'm not sure what you mean, what about your spouse, but spouses would be covered the same way that they are now. Will you be posting the name of the plan that is equal to or better than the direct 10 for Horizon? Yes, in the communication that's being provided, yes. But again, once the district makes the decision. Okay. Copay says office visit is $10 specialist and 15 for the special. So you are, could you also let us know if you are, what your emergency room copay is? Because you could either be, if 10 or 15, it looks like you're either in the Garden State or the educators plan. But I'm not sure if you're in direct 10, because direct 10 would be $10 for specialist and $10 for your primary. So it sounds like you may be in the educators plan. Your new plan would be called direct access 10. What is the guest key login for HR connection? It is Livingston Board of Ed with a capital L, capital B, and a capital E, all one word. But again, we haven't posted anything yet on the portal as the district has not made a decision just yet about this. But again, we will share this link with everyone probably later on tonight. So yes, for the person with the emergency room copay 125, it sounds like you're in the direct access in the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, excuse me. Okay. IVF is covered the same as it is a state mandate, so there's no change in IVF coverage. Okay. And I'm sorry, what is, you keep skipping the increase question. What is the increase question? We've mentioned it several times. I apologize. It is a renewal. The renewal for Horizon came in at a 29.5% increase. The health insurance fund is offering a savings of the total's about what, $600,000, Julie and Tom? So it is a savings
Correct.
based on the renewal. So yes.
Everybody's going to see an increase, right? And the direct 10 and 15 plans come July 1st, just because no matter what, the premium is going up July 1st. But with the move to Metropolitan Health Insurance Fund and Aetna, it's a 3% savings from what the Horizon renewal would have been. So it's an increase regardless, but it's also a savings on what it could have been.
And as far as next year, that next year doesn't mean 2027. That next year means now. This, if the district takes no action and accepts the renewal, it will be as of July 1st. Okay. Person is asking, how does out of network function? It functions the same way that it functions now. Whereas depending on the plan that you're in, there is a specific deductible and a co-insurance split when you go out of network. Doctors out of network have no contract with the carrier, so they truly do bill whatever they want. The insurance company determines what is usual, customary, and reasonable of the allowed amount, but in the out of network scenario, you really don't have a control over how much you're going to lay out of your pocket, and you could be subjected to what's called balance billing. So whether you're in direct 10 or in the educators plan, staying in network is where you're going to save the most money. But again, out of network does function very differently across the board in all plans than your direct 10 than saying a network, I should say. Will it be auto rollover or do we have to choose a plan? Again, it'll be automatically unless you take action. If you want to make a plan change, you will have that opportunity to make that plan change. Is there an app with digital claim submission like Horizon? Yes, the Aetna member app. Is there a place to compare out-of-network reimbursement rates for specific plans and procedures? There is, and I can tell you that it is a very complex website. We can certainly post information about that once we actually do open enrollment and a decision is made. But out-of-network, even in your current plans, again, functions very differently, especially if you're going from the direct 10 to the educators plan. What we always mention to individuals that are considering that change is that if you have high utilization out of network, your best bet is to, if you have the ability, again, based on your date of hire, is to stick with direct 10 or direct 15 because you will get more out of network reimbursed than you do under the educators or the Garden State Health Plan. So looking at your utilization is important when it comes to deciding what plan works best for you based on your out of network utilization. Will mental health coverage remain the same as with Horizon? Yes. Benefits, again, being matched equal to or better than, yes. Okay. We've reached the end of the questions. I'm not sure if there's anything else that Julie, Tom, or anyone from the district's administration or union would like to chime in and mention before we wrap up. Go back to the chat. I see another question.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
If you don't mind me jumping in very quickly,
Please.
just back to the 29.5% versus 26.5% increase questions there. I know that was a bit of a soft spot for a couple of members there. I just want to say that the value isn't necessarily the 3% or $600,000 savings this year. The value sort of rolls into year-over-year savings where you're going to see that average of 7, maybe 9, maybe 5% increase. While the state plan, they actually just got another 14% increase mid-year without even the renewal happening, and they had a 36% last year. And the fully insured market, while they're doing better, isn't very far behind. So the whole point of these health insurance funds, it's not just a one-year solution. Our whole thing is a multi-year solution, that 4, 5, 6-year solution, where you guys can stay and see that smaller increase year over year, and it compounds infinitely less than if you were in a state plan or a fully insured market. I just want to make that known because that 3%, 600,000, while it is nice, that's not nearly the talking point that the HIF wants to have projected. We are just a long-term solution. It's just starting now.
Yes, and Tom, just to add to that, someone asked, is the future increase benefit guaranteed? Nothing is guaranteed in the future. But what we can tell you is that there is demonstratively more rate stability in a health insurance fund than with going directly to a carrier. And again, the goal is to every year, even when you're in the health insurance fund, we market this every single year to make sure that the district is getting the best possible rate because it's not only a savings on employee contributions, it's a savings to the district. And again, with what you're hearing from so many other school districts that are in distress across the state, savings are more critical now than ever. Person is asking, is Atlantic Health covered? Yes, they're in the network. Okay. And to that person who's asking about rate stability and increases in the future, it also depends on the claims experience. So sometimes groups have better years than others. And, you know, again, no one can see into the future what claims experience is going to look like at your district next year, which is why we do this marketing every year.
So Samantha, I just want to again address your comment there in the chat. So the health insurance fund, we go through and we're very, very particular about who we accept into the health insurance fund and who we even offer proposals to. So obviously, while history can't be counted on for future performance, history can be used to sort of forecast where we're going to land. We leverage the law of large numbers to be able to accurately predict where our renewals will be every year. We have over 6,000 entities, 6,000 employees and over 13,000 members. So the more people we have, the easier it will be to predict where we're going to land year over year. And because we're so much of a stickler on who we decide to let in, we only let in the good experience. That's going to really help keep the rates down. We don't just let anybody in because that could obviously destroy the entire renewal. We make sure that they're only healthy entities so that if somebody has a really bad year, they're picked up by the other 24 entities that would be in the health insurance fund with you. So you can't count on the past, but you can use the past as a really good track record of what's going to happen.
What do you mean by a healthy entity? Healthy entity, Tom, I'll let you touch upon
Yeah,
that.
when I say a healthy entity, I mean there's something called a medical loss ratio. It's how much you as a whole, as Livingston as a whole, would incur in claims costs versus premium paid. So a healthy entity has a lot less in claims cost than they do premiums paid. So we only let in the entities that aren't really causing a lot of, they're not driving costs through carriers. Entities that are operating very well and very low cost, have a bunch of healthy members, low cost claims. They go in, and because they're doing so well overall, they get lower premiums.
If we are a healthy entity, why is Horizon going up so much? That's really a question for Horizon's underwriting. Every year they look at also their entire book of business as to what increases they may have had with other groups as well. So there's a variable amount of reasons why a carrier increases year to year. But again, our goal is to always look for the most cost-effective option with keeping the benefits equal to or better than. Englewood and Valley hospitals are in the network, yes. What happens if, Tom, this is a good question, and I know this came up when we were meeting with union leadership. What happens if the district became an unhealthy entity? Are we still going to be protected from large increases by the fund?
Yeah, yes, you are. So the whole thing is when one entity performs poorly on how they, their claims experience for the year, the rest of those entities that are running well are going to pick up the slack. So if you guys have a really great year compared to the whole fund, you're not going to reap 100% of that benefit. But if you have a really poor year, instead of getting that 36% like the state gave this year, you're going to get much closer to the health insurance fund's renewal because we are able to sort of stomp out that bad experience with all of the surplus from the good claims.
Person's asking about retirees. Again, retirees go back to state health benefits, and in order to qualify for benefits at state health benefits, you have to have a certain amount of years of service. But again, that relationship moves from the district to the state health benefits if they have the years of service. Can you clarify, are the direct 10 and 15 employees paying a % of premium or a % of salary? They're paying a percentage of premium. The percentage of salary is for people in the educators or the Garden State Health Plan. And because it's calculated in that way, there's always going to be a guaranteed savings moving from direct 10 or 15 to the educators or Garden State Health Plan. A big takeaway, since we have such a large crowd, I encourage you, if you're someone in direct 10, direct 15, reach out to us, send us an email, give our office a call. We have individual one-on-one conversations all the time with employees, especially this time of the year when open enrollment is active, to go over what plan makes the most sense. While we know that you will have a guaranteed savings from a direct access plan to the educators or Garden State Health Plan, it may not meet your medical needs based on, your out of network utilization, et cetera. So reach out to us because they're not one size fits all, but we would love to have that one-on-one conversation to make sure that it'll work for you and or your family, if applicable, on there. Are there other New Jersey districts in the Aetna plan? Yes. I can tell you that one of our largest districts that's very comparable to Livingston, which is Clifton Public Schools, they're also in an Aetna plan. There's a lot. of districts that are either with Aetna directly or with Aetna in a health insurance fund, but yes. Can Aetna provide a 3-year plan of potential increase? Would be important so we aren't in the same boat next year. Tom, I don't think that any carrier, whether it was Aetna directly or Aetna through your health insurance fund, would be able to provide a 3-year plan.
Yeah,
of
that's
potential.
correct. Especially just due to rising claims costs, nobody really knows where the market will be in 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. And that further emphasizes the whole importance of this rate stability that the health insurance fund's offering. But yeah, to what Elizabeth was saying, no carrier will do that. It's just not customary.
Yeah. Person is asking, so the amount each month taken out won't increase on the educational plan from Aetna? Yes. Even now under Horizon, because the educator's plan is based on a percentage of your salary, unless you have a change to that salary, you have a lot of contribution stability from that standpoint. But again, reach out to us if that's something you're considering, just so we can make sure we go over that with you. I may have missed this. Is the Direct Access 7 education even being considered? Because the presentation seems to point a push towards Aetna, I've had issues with coverage in the past. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. The Direct 10, Direct 15, the educators, and the Garden State Health Plan would be the same 4 plans that you have now. Those would be the same 4 that would be offered under Aetna with the benefits carried over equal to or better than. But again, you'd be moving, it's a carrier change. It's not a plan change, it's a carrier change from Horizon to Aetna. Okay, so yes, to Hegdu, yes, you are correct with that question. Can you provide a previous cost for the last 5 years then if they can't do 3 years moving forward? Absolutely. That information is probably public record anyway, because that's part of how your district handles their budgeting every year. But yes, I'm sure the district has all that information, or we can provide it either or, of your past history with Horizon Direct as well as with the state health benefits. Who should we contact if we want to move from Direct 10 to the educators plan? You would be completing an enrollment form. And again, all that information would be shared once the district makes a final decision. But you would complete an enrollment form if you're looking to make that move. And that enrollment form would be then returned to the business office. Is it correct that the educators plan can only use NJ providers? No, the educators plan has a national network. It's the Garden State Health Plan that only has coverage in the state of New Jersey. I hope that clarifies that. Is the direct access the same as direct 10 and 15? Yes. So you have direct access 10, you have direct access 15. Yes. Can you quickly address out-of-state health benefits? Yes, Aetna has a national network. So as long as they're an Aetna provider, you would have out-of-network coverage. Again, you also, with all plans except the Garden State Health Plan, you would have out-of-network, out-of-state benefits. But again, your cost savings would be if you try and stay in network. And again, it's a national network. So if you were, let's say, traveling in Florida for the summer, or if you have a child that's away at college, finding a participating provider under Aetna is not going to be an issue across the country. How can we check what plan we are currently on? Either on the Horizon member portal or on your ID card. Okay. Julie, anything else you want to touch upon before we wrap up?
No, I'll just say this about the which plan are we on question. So everybody's cards currently is going to say for the most part direct access because under Horizon, that's the network that everybody has, regardless of the plan design that you've enrolled in. The way to quickly determine which plan you're in is by copay. So if it shows your PCP and specialist as $10, you're in the $10 plan. If it shows both as 15, you're in the $15 plan. If it shows a split of PCP 10, specialist 15, you're either on the Garden State plan or the educators plan. And the easiest way to determine that is if you have the little logo on the bottom of your card that has PPO written inside of it, that means you have out-of-state access to the Horizon coverage through the other states. That's the educator's plan. If you don't have that little symbol with the PPO, you're in the Garden State plan.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So again, more information will be forthcoming once a decision is made by the district. We will share a link to this recording that you'll either get tonight or tomorrow. And other than that, I appreciate everyone's time. Again, feel free to call or email us. We want to make sure that all of your questions are answered. so you can make an informed decision with, whatever direction the district decides to go on. Last question I see here, I see two questions. Presentation slides show monthly premiums for direct access. Are those employee contribution amounts? That was an overall general monthly premiums, that those are the correct premiums, but again, based on your salary would be the definitive answer. So you can reach out to us and we can do that calculation based on your specific amount. But we just did 4 different salary brackets. If we have the educator plan and want to keep it, Aetna has that too. Yes, again, all 4 plans that are being offered now under Horizon would be the same that would be offered under Aetna, with benefits being equal to or better than. When is the district expected to make a decision? I believe there's a board meeting this week. I'm not sure if it's going to be discussed or decided upon at that meeting. That's really more of a district question, district administration question. But again, thank you so much, everyone. We will share this recording. Again, we're always here, happy to help. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening.